What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR, and how there is a pretty big lawsuit that just got filed that we just got news of today that involves Palantir in a pretty big way. So we're going to go over exactly what this lawsuit means and what my opinions are on this lawsuit and how it could affect the share price in the future. We're also going to go over some of the other pieces of news that have come out about Palantir over the last couple of days, as well as some unusual options activity on Palantir's options chain that could suggest where the price of Palantir is going to be going in the near future. So before we get into all of that information, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So if we go over to the chart of Palantir, this is going to be the 3-month chart. We can see that Palantir is still trading at the lows, and we've seen a lot of other stocks bounce back up today after the pretty substantial sell-offs we've been seeing over the past week. Now, this pretty bad news about Palantir came out today, and the stock is only down about 1%. We've seen some pretty great news come out about Palantir over the last week, and the stock has just tumbled. So I think this is going to be getting close to the bottom that we are going to see for Palantir. I think the lowest that we are going to go is maybe 24.50, but other than that, I think Palantir is going to have a pretty strong reversal in the near future. So let's take a look at this lawsuit. So coming over here, we can see the NHS, which is the United Kingdom's National Health Services, facing legal challenge over data deal with controversial Silicon Valley firm Palantir. So coming down a little bit further, we can see that the court case against the health service, which was announced today, could force it to reconsider the contract, which was extended in December 2020 and is now worth $23.5 million. So that would be a very big deal if the UK's NHS was forced to pull this contract from Palantir. Now, coming down a little further, we can say the lawsuit is the latest challenge over procurement during the pandemic, which has become a highly contentious topic in recent months, which critics accusing the government of favoring its own contacts. It comes as a batch of internal government emails uncovered by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and seen by Sky News reveal that high-level meetings took place between Palantir and the most senior officials in government and the NHS before the pandemic, raising questions about the role of personal relationships in the award of the contract. Now, that would be pretty bad news for Palantir, but at the same time, they do have to have a relationship with these government agencies, because the government agencies aren't just going to come out and just give contracts willy-nilly to data analytics companies. They need to have a sound relationship with the high-level employees that work there. But when this lawsuit and the court dates actually come out and the filings actually come out, we might actually get some more insight onto what exactly these meetings were about and what they were discussing in these meetings, which could lead us to believe that they were either what I'm saying, that they were just developing a relationship, or there was something more like sinister going on. So the main point of this lawsuit is claiming that the NHS England failed to consider the impact of the renewed deal on patients and the public by performing a fresh data protection impact assessment. So if you don't know what that is, if we come over here, we can see a data protection impact assessment is required under the GDPR anytime you begin a new project that is highly likely to involve a high risk to other people's personal information. So that does fall under what Palantir does. They use people's information to analyze their data and form some predictive analytics models. So coming down a little bit further, we can see that an NHS spokesperson said the company is an accredited supplier to the UK public sector. The NHS completed a data protection impact assessment in April 2020, and an update will be published in due course. Although Palantir does not store any health data itself, Foxglove claims that by using its data analytics software for tasks such as the vaccine rollout, the NHS is putting public trust at risk. So essentially what this lawsuit is claiming is that Palantir has access to too much data, and the way that they are able to analyze it could cause a public threat. If Palantir was to lose this NHS contract, it would cause a short-term dip in the share price because it is a pretty substantial contract. But the only way that this lawsuit really gets blown out of proportion, in my opinion, so right now I don't think that this is a big deal. I think it's just a law firm and a group trying to stir up some information about Palantir that may or may not be there. We will see. But if we see more lawsuits start to come out from different companies against organizations, this could get bad for Palantir. Now, we are just going to have to wait and see. We're just going to have to wait a couple of months, I think, for new lawsuits to be filed, if they are going to be filed, and the results of this first lawsuit that we are seeing. Yesterday, we also got news that 3 high-level executives of Palantir sold about 2.7 million shares after Palantir's lockup period expired after their earnings last week. So that's, in my opinion, only a short-term dip, and we really don't need to be worried about this. There could be more shares coming onto the market, which could cause some longer-term selling pressure, but this has created a great dip to buy in Palantir. We can see the high is trading at like $45. That was the high of Palantir, and now it's trading at $26.32. If you like Palantir for the long term, I think this could be a great time to get in and buy this dip. Now, nothing I say is financial advice. These are for educational purposes only. Last week, we also saw Cathie Wood, the famous investor who heads ARK Invest, buy about $200 million of Palantir in their ARK Next Generation ETFs. So that is a big deal. When ARK Invest comes in and buys a lot of shares of a company, especially on a dip in ARKW and ARKK, 2 of their most popular ETFs, that is a very good sign for the long term. So obviously, ARK Invest sees something that they like in Palantir's financial business model and future growth projections, that they were willing to put $200 million back into the company. So that is a very good sign. We also saw that Palantir and 3M expanded their relationship to build dynamic supply chain. Now, as I said in my last Palantir video, we actually aren't getting the deal numbers and the actual cost of what Palantir is going to be receiving for these contracts. They have been saying a multi-million-dollar deal in the last couple of deals that Palantir has received. So I think that the reason for this is that Palantir had an amazing December 2020 and fourth quarter 2020 when they were releasing all of the information about their contracts. Their Army Vantage contract was over $100 million. We knew the number of the NHS contract. It was about $30 million, if I remember correctly. But now we are not seeing them announce the actual deal numbers. The reason I think this is because everybody got so hyped up about Palantir's revenue going into their earnings that people were piling into the stock, and it was all just priced in from back in December, and a lot of investors did not realize that. So it's possible that Palantir is trying to be a little bit hush-hush with their deal numbers going forward. So we are just going to have to wait to see every time on Palantir's earnings what their actual revenue and EPS numbers are, which in my opinion isn't that bad of a thing. We could actually see some massive run-ups after Palantir's next couple of quarters when they announce their earnings. We are also seeing an absolutely insane amount of open interest and volume on Palantir's call option chain. So coming over here, we're going to be looking at the March 19th, 2021 expiration date, and the contracts that have the most open interest, and this is very unusual, is the $35 strike. This is very deep out of the money, and there's about 65,788 contracts being held in people's brokerage accounts at the current time, and 4,500 of these contracts were traded today. Now, coming back to these 30s, these are a little bit closer to the money, but still pretty far out. But Palantir always has the potential to run up an extreme amount in any given day. So these contracts could be a good play. But for me, I usually like to trade events such as an earnings, like a demo day that we saw Palantir have. If you were around here for our demo day Palantir play, that play was absolutely insane. It was about 1,000% gain, even more at one point. So this Palantir $30 strike right now has a 54,604 open interest, but the volume traded today on these contracts is almost 20,000. So that means that 20,000 of these contracts have been bought and sold today. So this, all these options traders are betting that Palantir is going to be going to 30 by March 19th. Now, Palantir has had a pretty significant dip, so this could be a good play if you are just speculating on the price of Palantir. But when we switch over to the put options for this same expiration date, we can see that there is some pretty high open interest as well, especially at this $25 price point. This strike price has an open interest of almost 57,000, which is kind of normal to see with the closer to the money expiration or strike prices. But the volume on these contracts, as you can see, is much lower than the call. So a lot of options traders are betting that Palantir is going to have a significant reversal in the near future. So I don't have a Palantir play right now, but we are going to keep a lookout for this stock and any new events that we could have. So we're just going to keep an eye. So that is going to be it for this Palantir update. If you guys enjoyed the information that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a very profitable day on this pretty strong reversal on a lot of stocks that we have been covering on this channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.